Ramana Marishi was an enlightened master of the late 19th and early 20th century. And he emphasized one teaching of his. He said that it was the pinnacle of yoga, of wisdom, of meditation, of prayer, of devotion. And he went to the extent of saying that everything else was mere lectury and pedantry. Now, this teaching of his is very, very powerful. If you practice it, it will transform your life completely. In this video, I'm going to explain that teaching of his, and I'm going to give you 3 or 4 examples that he gave to explain this teaching. I'm also going to give you a meditation of Lord Shiva's from the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, where Lord Shiva basically says the same thing and he gives a meditation to help you practice it. And then I'm also going to give you a story from the Bible that's not understood so well, but that touches one aspect of Ramana Maharshi's teaching. So let's get started. Ramana Marishi said that we should focus our intention inwards on the self, the witnessing self within us. He said that self or soul is none other than God. And he said that if a thought arises, an uncontrolled thought, he said leave it and bring your attention back towards inwards to the self. Now he explained that you might find the external world interesting. A lot of the things you see and meet around you in the external world you may find interesting. But you have to understand that there's one unlimited power that is responsible for the creation of everything that we see and the act of seeing it. And he said that we should focus our attention inwards on that, which is none other than ourself. And he went on to explain, he says, in a hot, scorching day, it's hot in the sun, and you get relief, you get peace under the shade of the tree. Now, it's an unwise person who leaves the shade of the tree and goes out, experiences the heat, becomes uncomfortable, and then keeps coming back under the tree to get relief. He says that's what happens when the mind goes outwards looking for pleasure into the external world. It experiences pain and suffering there, and then it comes back to the self and focuses its attention on itself and experiences peace once again. So he says, don't keep going back and forth. Instead, focus your attention within on the self. And one of the important things he says is that everybody wants to be happy, and where does happiness come from? Happiness comes from peace, and peace arises when there's no disturbance from thoughts. When the mind is still, you experience happiness and peace. And the reason for that is simple. That's the very nature of our soul. The nature of our soul is joy, it's happiness, it's bliss, it's peace. There are a lot of other words that are used to explain the same thing. And we don't experience the happiness and peace of our soul simply because of the disturbance from our thoughts. And when we focus our attention inwards on ourselves, that's when we are quieting the mind down. And when the mind is quiet enough, that's when we experience this peace and this joy that totally transforms our life. And Ramana Marishi gave another example. He spoke about a cow that strays from its stall. And how will you keep it in its stall? You tempt it first with giving it fine fodder and grass, and it starts straying out less and less. After a while, it becomes very comfortable in its stall, and you will find that even if you try and coax it to go outside, it won't. And he says it's the same with the self. He says once you experience the peace that you find within, your mind will no longer travel outwards. Once you just get the touch of that joy of the soul, then it becomes easy to control the mind, and it always stays inwards. Now, you may think that, look, if I am only focusing on myself, how do I take care of my problems? How do I run my day-to-day life? Well, your soul is the most powerful, creative, intelligent force in the entire universe. It's got a solution to all your problems. So every time you're facing a major problem, that's what you do. You turn inwards, and you'll always find a solution to all your problems there. What Ramana Marishi here is talking about is getting rid of your uncontrolled thoughts. When your mind is under your control, you can choose to think when you want and choose not to think when you don't want. And he further gave the example of a train, that when you get onto a train, you can put your bag down. The train is going to take you and your bag to the destination. You don't have to strain yourself by continuously carrying your bag. And he says that's what happens when you surrender to God, when you focus on yourself. He says whatever burdens you throw at God, God can comfortably handle all of them. So when you surrender yourself to God, or when you focus on yourself, on yourself within, all your challenges are easily met. God takes care of all your affairs. Now, focusing on the self within is important because it brings you stability and balance. External events don't disturb you anymore. There's a beautiful story in the Bible that's not very well explained, that not very well understood rather, that explains the same thing. It was about two men who built a house. One built it in the sand without a foundation, and when the storms and the rain came, the house got swept away. And the other one dug deep till he reached the rock. He built a foundation there, and from there he built his house upwards. And when the storm came, the house was totally untouched. Oh, and that's the lesson to be learned here. That when you have strong roots within yourself, then you don't get disturbed by what happens outside. You're able to remain calm, and you're able to take decisions that are in your best interest because you are calm and peaceful. If you're in an agitated state, you don't take the best decisions that are in your best interest and for those around you. Now, there's a meditation in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra given by Lord Shiva which says the same thing. And he says something to the following, that all contact with pleasure, pain, etc. are through the sense organs. Therefore, one should detach oneself from the senses, turn within, and abide in one's own self. Now, he's saying detach oneself from the senses so that you don't get disturbed by what's happening around you, and turn within and focus your attention within. Now, you'll find a lot of spiritual teachers, a lot of spiritual books who tell you the same thing in a different language. They'll always keep telling you, go within, go within. Go within, reside within, because that's where you find joy. And they're telling you the same thing, that focus on yourself. And when you focus on the self within, the witnessing self within, your entire life gets transformed. Now, in case you want to learn more about Ramana Marishi, there's an excellent book of his, a very small book of his that contains the essence of most of his teaching, and that's called Words of Grace. It's available on Amazon, and it's also available in the ashram. Thank you.